After I purchased my stainless steel Butler Creek folding stock, I started looking around and this black model popped up on eBay, and it was actually a pretty good deal. This one, as you can see, it's exactly the same frame that you would have on the stainless steel one. The only difference is the shoulder stock is black. This is the one that I had actually taken and filed down the groove where the barrel goes in to try to make it fit a 920 diameter target barrel. And what I originally was going to do was take the receiver in the barrel out of this Archangel AA556R-EX chassis that I have and made it to this Butler Creek folding stock. And in doing that, I took it all apart. I cleaned everything up. I sanded down the inside channel of that Butler Creek stock and put the receiver in it. And when I was done, I just didn't like the way it looked. The 920 diameter barrel on this particular chassis just looked a little bit funny. Maybe if it was a 16-inch barrel, it wouldn't look so bad, but being an 18-inch long barrel, I just didn't really like the way it looked. So I had tossed around a few ideas, maybe just reselling the Butler Creek stock or, trying to find something else. And what I ended up finding was the cheapest Ruger 1022 on the market. Now, the nice thing about this one, it came with a hard plastic case and it also came with a scope from the factory. These are right around $299 from Cabela's when I picked this up. You can still get them for around that. And this particular model, it's inexpensive because it comes just with a really cheap plastic stock, and it comes with a, I guess, semi-decent 3 to 9 powered scope. And other than that, it's just a plain Jane model. The barrel is an 18-inch barrel, and it doesn't even have sights on it. So it's kind of a plain Jane model. The sad thing is, about 4 or 5 years ago, you used to be able to buy these for about $229. So they've gone up about 80 bucks, but still $299 for one of these isn't too bad when you can still find them. This is a Viridian 3 to 9 by 40 scope. It comes with standard 22 tip-off rings. So I had the idea to get this particular rifle. Again, it was the cheapest one I could possibly find, and I decided to put this in the Butler Creek 1022 folding stock instead of the receiver that's in my Archangel stock. So you can see again, this is kind of a heavier than normal barrel. It's not really a 920 diameter. It's still a tapered barrel, but it is a little bit heavier than a standard carbine barrel, and it has no sights on it. I do like that Ruger started etching their name in all of the bolts on these. And, this probably came out around the time of the 75th anniversary, but it's not really a 75th anniversary because it doesn't say that on the receiver. This one came with the factory Ruger rail on top of it. And again, it's mated for the tip-off rings that you have on this scope. And I decided to do a few upgrades to this before I put it together. So I got a true Weaver Picatinny rail for the 1022. These things are like 12 or 15 bucks at Cabela's. You can find them all day long. And this time around, I did not do anything to the inside of this, so there's no trigger pack. I think the only thing I did was put an extended magazine release on this. Again, putting this rail on the top of it, so this has that Weaver rail, and this is a true 1913 Picatinny rail, so I also had to change the scope rings for the scope that I was putting on this. And of course, because I had this thing apart, I decided to just check everything out, did a little bit of cleaning on it, and I didn't have any more M-Carbo spring trigger packs for this. So I just left the whole trigger assembly factory, but I did take it apart and change the magazine release to put in a extended magazine release that I had left over from another project. And I also decided while I had this thing apart, I was going to take a little bit of time and make myself an auto bolt release. The auto bolt releases that you can buy from Volquartsen are really inexpensive. I think they're only about 18 or 20 bucks. But I figured while I had it apart, I've done it before where I've made my own. You only have to open up one of the holes a little bit. So I ended up modifying it myself. And instead of putting that Viridian scope back on, I ended up going with a BSA Sweet 22 scope, and this is the finished product. The rail section that's on the front of this stock was actually on it before I bought it. It makes it really convenient for using with a bipod. And now I have a super stealthy all black 1022 with a scope on it with a folding stock. And again, if you look at it here with that bipod on the front, it just makes it look super cool. This one's not quite as light as the other one I have because, again, it does have some additional stuff tacked onto it. The other one I have has a 1022 compact barrel with Williams fire sight, so it doesn't require a scope or anything like that. But this one, because it had a scope on it from the factory originally, I thought it would be cool to keep a scope. The BSA Sweet 22 scopes have bullet drop compensation, and they have compensation for different various distances when you're shooting. They're made specifically for 22, so they're really, really good for this type of a rifle. And again, having that bipod on the front with a pistol grip is going to make this thing really comfortable and really fun to shoot. I can't say enough good about 1022s. I've had, mixed thoughts about them over the years. I used to think that the Marlin 60 was a superior rifle because it had a magazine tube where you could just load the ammo into it and you didn't need magazines and things like that. But very quickly after I bought a 1022, I realized how good they are, how easy they are to modify, how easy they are to make accurate, even if you don't buy all the aftermarket accessories for these and you're using a standard receiver and just some tricks like the M Carbo spring kit, a auto bolt release, an extended magazine catch make these things so much more fun to shoot. So thanks again for watching another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews and another kind of stupid rant video about some build that I'm working on. I appreciate anybody who joins me and watches. My channel has grown exponentially this year, and I appreciate anybody that joins me. If you look at some of the components on here, again, there's a nice shot of that BSA scope. And if we look at the brand of rings that I have on the scope, you can see...
Is that a sniper?
Yes, Paul, it is a sniper. Thank you everyone for joining me on this edition of Cranky Gun Reviews with my 1022 in the Butler Creek stock. Have a great day. God bless America. Support your 2A rights. Get out there and shoot. And you remember, someone asks you to give up some of your freedom for the greater good. Remind them that freedom is always the greater good. And Paul Harrell, rest in peace. I really miss you.